The fossil record provides evidence about the nature and rate of evolutionary change in species and larger clades. Major transformations in anatomy, phylogeny, ecology, and behavior, which usually take place in larger clades, are known as macroevolutionary patterns. The emergence of new species through speciation and their disappearance through extinction is a simple macroevolutionary pattern. The emergence, growth, and extinction of larger clades, such as dinosaurs, mammals, or flowering plants, are examples of larger macroevolutionary patterns. Fossils are classified using the same cladistic techniques used to classify living species. In some cases, fossils are placed in clades that contain only extinct organisms. In other cases, fossils are classified into clades that include living organisms. Cladograms illustrate hypotheses about how closely related organisms are by proposing relationships among living species, extinct species, and the common ancestors they share. Note that hypothesizing that an extinct species is related to a living species is not the same thing as claiming that the extinct organism is a direct ancestor of that living species. For example, this figure does not suggest that any extinct species shown are direct ancestors of modern birds. Instead, the extinct species shown descended over time from a line of common ancestors that they share with modern birds. When environmental conditions change, natural selection and other evolutionary mechanisms enable some species to evolve adaptations to new conditions. Species that evolve such adaptations thrive. Species that fail to evolve and adapt to changing environments become extinct. Interestingly, the rates at which species appear, adapt, and become extinct vary from one clade to another and from one period of geologic time to another. Why have some clades produced many species and survived for long periods, while other clades gave rise to only a few species that vanished? Paleontologists look for part of the answer by studying patterns of speciation and extinction in different clades. One way to think about this process is in terms of species diversity. High species diversity within a clade can serve as raw material for macroevolutionary change in that clade. In some cases, the more varied the adaptations of species in a particular clade are, the more likely the clade is to survive environmental change. This is similar to the way in which genetic diversity serves as raw material for evolutionary change for populations within a species. The rate of speciation in a clade is equal to or greater than the rate of extinction, the clade will continue to exist. If the rate of extinction in a clade is greater than the rate of speciation, the clade will eventually become extinct. The clade Reptilia is one example of a highly successful clade. The reptile cladogram in the figure includes not only living snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodiles, but also dinosaurs that thrived for tens of millions of years, and the common ancestors that all members of this clade share. Most species in the clade Dinosauria are now extinct, but the clade survived because it produced some groups of new species that successfully adapted to changing conditions. One of those smaller dinosaur clades survives and thrives today. We call them birds.